Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Krishnaya Paramatmane Namaga. Srimad Bhagavat Gita, Chapter 7. Paramahamsa Vignyaana Yoga. Sri Bhagavan said, Arjuna, now listen how with the mind attached to me, through exclusive devotion and practicing yoga with absolute dependence on me, you will know me in entirety and without any shadow of doubt. I shall unfold to you in its entirety this wisdom, along with the knowledge of the qualified aspect of God, having known which nothing else remains yet to be known in the world. Hardly one among thousands of men strives to realize me. Of those striving yogis, again, some rare one devoting himself exclusively to me knows me in reality. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, reason, and also ego. These constitute my nature divided into 8 parts. This indeed is my lower material nature. The other than this, by which the whole universe is sustained, know it to be my higher or spiritual nature in the form of Jiva, the life principle, O Arjuna. Arjuna, know that all beings have evolved from this twofold Prakriti and that I am the source of the entire creation, and into me again it disappears. There is nothing else besides me, Arjuna, like clusters of yarn beads formed by knots of a thread. All this is threaded on me. Arjuna, I am the sap in water and the radiance of the moon and the sun. I am the sacred syllable Om in all the Vedas, the sound in ether, and the manliness in men. I am the pure odor, the subtle principle of smell in the earth, and the brightness in fire. Nay, I am the life in all beings and austerity in men of ascetics. Arjuna, know me, the eternal seed of all beings. I am the intelligence of the intelligent. The glory of the glorious am I. Arjuna, of the mighty I am the might, free from passion and desire. In beings I am the sexual desire, not conflicting with virtue or scriptural injunctions. Whatever other entities there are born of sattva, and those that are born of rajas and tamas, know them all as evolved from me alone. In reality, however, neither do I exist in them, nor do they in me. The whole of this creation is deluded by these objects evolved from the 3 modes of Prakriti, namely Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. That is why the world fails to recognize me, standing apart from these and imperishable. From this most wonderful Maya of mine, consisting of the 3 gunas, is extremely difficult to break through. Those, however, who constantly adore me alone are able to cross it. Those whose wisdom has been carried away by Maya and who have embraced the demonic nature, such foolish and vile men of evil deeds do not adore me. 4 types of devotees of noble deeds worship me. Arjuna, the seeker after worldly possessions, the afflicted, the seeker for knowledge, and the man of wisdom. O best of Bharatas. Of these, the best is the man of wisdom, ever established an identity with me and possessed of exclusive devotion. For I am extremely dear to the wise man who knows me in reality, and he is extremely dear to me. Indeed, all these are noble, but the man of wisdom is my very self. Such is my view. For such a devotee who has his mind and intellect merged in me is firmly established in me alone, the highest goal. In the very last of all births, the enlightened person worships me by realizing that all this is God. Such a great soul is very rare indeed. Those whose wisdom has been carried away by various desires, being prompted by their own nature, worship other deities, adopting rules relating to each. Whatever celestial form of a devotee chooses to worship with reverence, I stabilize the faith of that particular devotee in that very form. Endowed with such faith, he worships that particular deity and obtains through him without doubt his desired enjoyments are ordained by himself. The fruit gained by these people of small understanding, however, is perishable. The worshippers of God attain the gods, whereas my devotees, howsoever they worship me, eventually come to me and me alone. Not knowing my supreme nature, unsurpassable and undecaying, the ignorants believe me, who am the supreme spirit, beyond the reach of mind and senses and the embodiment of truth, knowledge and bliss, to have assumed a finite form through birth as an ordinary human being. Wheeled by my Yogamaya, I am not manifest to all. Hence, these ignorant folk fail to recognize me, the unborn and imperishable supreme deity. Arjuna, I know all beings, past as well as present, nay, even those that are yet to come, but none devoid of faith and reverence knows me. O valiant Arjuna, through delusion in the shape of pairs of opposites, such as pleasure and pain, etc., born of desire and hatred, all living creatures in this world are falling a prey to infatuation. But those men of virtuous deeds whose sins have come to an end, being freed from delusion in the shape of pairs of opposites, born of attraction and repulsion, worship me with a firm resolve in every way. They who, having taken refuge in me, strive for deliverance from old age and death, know Brahma, the Absolute, the whole Adhyatma, the totality of jivas or embodied souls, and the entire field of karma as well as my integral being, comprising Adhibhuta, Adhidhaiva, and Adhiyajna, divinity dwelling in the heart of all beings as their witness. And they who possessed of a steadfast mind know thus, even at the hour of death, they too know me alone. Thus, in the Upanishad sung by the Lord, the science of Brahman, the scripture of yoga, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna ends the 7th chapter entitled The Yoga of Vignyaana. The glories of chapter 7 of the Bhagavat Gita from the Padma Purana. Lord Shiva said, "My dear Parvati, now I will tell you the glories of the 7th chapter of Srimad Bhagavat Gita, hearing which one feels his ears have been filled with divine nectar." Pataliputra is the name of one large town which has many large gates. In that town lived a Brahmana of the name Shankukarna. He had taken to the occupation of a businessman and had amassed a very large wealth. But he had never performed any type of devotional activities, nor had he performed the necessary ritualistic performances for the sake of his forefathers. He became very rich, so much that even great kings would dine at his house. Shankukarna was also the most miserly of persons, and he kept his wealth buried under the ground. Once, when that Brahmana was going along with his children and other relatives for the purpose of his fourth marriage, they stopped at one place to rest for the night. While he was sleeping, a snake came and bit him. When his sons and relatives realized that a snake had bitten him, they called for the doctors and mantra chanters, but no one was able to help Shankukarna, and shortly he died. After that, he attained the body of a Preta Sharp, a snake ghost. The only thing he was able to think about was his wealth, which was buried close to the house where he had lived. He had not even informed his own family of the whereabouts of his wealth. Even in the form of a Preta Sharp, he resided at the place where his wealth was buried, so that no one else could take that wealth. After some time, he became tired of being trapped in the form of a Preta Sharp, and he appeared in dreams to his sons and requested them to help him. In the morning, when his lazy sons woke up, they told each other about the dream they had seen. One of his sons took a large digging instrument in his hands and went to the place the father had indicated that he was living. When he reached that place, he realized that he was not aware of the exact spot where the wealth was buried. That son was exceptionally greedy, and he searched for a long time until he came across a snake hole, which he promptly started to dig out. Shortly, a very large and fearful-looking snake came out of that hole and spoke to the son the following words: "O fool, who are you? Why have you come here? Who has sent you? And why are you digging at this place? Reply to my questions at once." The son replied, "I am your son. My name is Shiva. In a dream last night, I saw that there were hidden treasures buried at this place, and I came to take them." When he heard Shiva speaking that way, the Preta Sharp started to laugh and said, "If you are my son, then why are you not performing the necessary rituals to free me from this hellish situation? Due to greed in my last life, I attained this body, and now you are heading the same way." The son inquired, "My dear father, kindly tell me how you can be freed from the hellish situation." The Preta Sharp said, "Not by any kind of charity, tapasya or yajna, only by reciting the 7th chapter of Srimad Bhagavat Gita will I be able to become free from the wheel of birth and death. My dear son, kindly perform the Shraddha ceremony, and on that day invite a Brahmana who is in the habit of chanting the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita and feed him very sumptuously." Thereafter, Shiva, along with his other brothers, fulfilled the instructions of their father, and while the Brahmana was chanting the 7th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Shankukarna gave up that frightful body of a Preta Sharp and attained a divine four-armed body. At that time, he blessed his sons and informed them where his wealth was, and then left for Vaikuntha. Those sons whose minds had become fixed in devotion to Lord Krishna used that wealth for building temples, digging wells and kinds, and distributing foodstuffs. They all engaged daily in the recitation of 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And very quickly they attained the lotus feet of Lord Mahavishnu. Lord Shiva said, "My dear Parvati, I have told you the wonderful glories of the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Anyone who hears this description will be freed from all sinful reactions." This completes the 7th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Sri Krishna 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 Krishna